From the vacation capital of the world, it's the Nick Carioti Show.
As promised, my guest today is a public speaker, a trainer, a product creator, internet marketer, and an entrepreneur, earning six figures monthly. I'm speaking of Cedrick Harris. Thanks for joining us today, Cedrick. How are you?
I'm super, my friend. How about yourself?
I'm doing just fantastic. Just real excited to have you on the show. And boy, I tell you, I have to say, that's quite a road you took to the top. It must be a good feeling to be where you are today, correct?
It is a phenomenal feeling. It's been a long time, my friend, but it's all about being humble and knowing who you are on the way.
Yep, absolutely. And I love what you do because I'm a big fan of simply doing the right thing and being there for others as well and taking people for the ride as you have. So big fan of that.
Thank you very much, my friend. Thank you.
Now, Cedrick, your reputation precedes you, but for those listeners who may not be overly familiar, can you tell them a little bit about your story and how you got started?
A little bit about my story. Actually, I'm originally from Richmond, Virginia, Nick. I currently live in Tampa, Florida, and I got introduced to the home-based business arena back in the early, mid-'90s. And I had a little dabble inside of the industry, right before the internet and things started to change with a little company called Excel Communications, marketing long distance. And a little less than a year after getting inside of that company, some things changed and a lot of us went in different directions. And 2001, Nick, I actually ended up in the mortgage industry. Ironically, you've got a real estate background as well. So I ended up in the mortgage industry in 2001. Right place, right time. Knew nothing about the mortgage industry, just happened to answer an ad in the Richmond Times-Dispatch that literally changed my life.
Yeah. And
I got into the mortgage industry as a loan officer. About a year later, I was the regional manager of our Detroit, Michigan office. And then they moved me back to Richmond, Virginia, to run our largest office we had in the company, which was only VA loans. And Virginia is the second largest state populated for veterans. So that office back in 2003 did about $1.1 billion in funded mortgages out of the door. And I made a couple $1 million, and my life's totally changed. Nick, I thought the sky was actually going to part at that time.
Yeah.
I was 27 years old. So then a year later, got moved off to Florida to become the president of marketing for Mortgage Investors Corporation, working for my mentor and good friend, Mr. Bill Edwards, here in St. Petersburg market, and held that position up until 2006. 2006, I decided to leave that industry and get into the networking and internet marketing industry full time, and it's been a ride ever since.
Yeah.
It's been a ride ever since. So that's probably the Reader's Digest version of the story, my friend.
Right. Well, it's an inspiring story, and it inspires a lot of people out there. I know I've done some research, and I've seen what you've done out there, and how it has affected other people's lives, and that's always a great thing. I'm intrigued by your logo on your website. The hashtag said. Was that your idea?
It was actually not my idea. I was at an event in Aruba a little over a year ago, and a business partner of mine, we did an event together in Seattle, and we did this event together, and he was sitting in front of the room, he was talking about some of the training that we were doing, and he said this, and said that, and he just stopped and was like,
hey,
said.
Yes.
And it's just stuck ever since.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I just put the hashtag said.
Yeah, I had to give it a double take. I'm thinking that's clever. I like it. I love it. All right, so now I know we have a very exciting project to talk about today, but before we do, I have a couple questions for you. I just want to go ahead and get out of the way. Now, I happen to know that you're a public speaker in high demand, but I'd like to know, what type of things do you normally speak about at your events?
I normally speak about entrepreneurship. I speak about the network marketing industry and really that industry as a whole and how to really do something no matter what your background is, as well as I train on different topics inside of direct selling and inside of our industry. So how to close people, how to market your business, whether it be online marketing, whether it be offline marketing. Those are really the main topics that I get into.
Right. Very nice. The things people are interested in, absolutely. Now, one of your titles I notice is product creator. Are you an inventor, or how do you do that?
No, I've created different CD sets. I have a CD set out there called How to Close Anyone, Anywhere, Anytime, which really goes over personality types. It covers the top 20, 30 objections that you would get inside of our industry. I have a bonus CD in there called the MLM Divas, where I've interviewed some of the top women of network marketing and internet marketing, since our whole home-based business arena really encompasses about 80+% women. So I interviewed quite a few of the elites of the elite inside of that. Then I've created another product called the 10K per month attraction marketing blueprint, which really shows people how to go from $0 to $10,000 a month inside of our industry. And I've co-authored a book with Deepak Chopra, Jack Canfield, and Dr. Dennis Waitley called Stepping Stones to Success.
Very nice.
And I'm working on another book and another CD series as we speak.
Wonderful. I'm aware of that, and I look forward to having you on the show when that's ready to go as well. I'd love to talk about that. Wonderful.
Absolutely.
Now, before we get into the new project, tell us, how do you go about choosing your projects and making your decision to jump into something? What's your method?
Well, Nick, actually, on April the 1st, 2013, I resigned from a particular company that I was involved in that inside of the network marketing industry where my team did about $42 million in revenue for the company in about a 19-month time frame.
Wow.
And I decided to take 7.5 months off, Nick. And the reason I did so was simply because I'm 38 years young. I wanted to dissect the industry, and I don't believe that you can really see the picture where you're inside of the picture frame.
Right.
So I had to completely take myself out of the picture frame and look at things from a different set of eyes. And I dissected 47 different network marketing companies in that time frame.
Yep.
And I actually flew out to 25 out of the 47. The other 22 didn't require a flight. There was no need. But
Yeah,
I
right.
was sitting down and really, really talking to co-founders, top distributors, owners of these different companies. And the first thing that I look for, Nick, is leadership.
Right.
You heard it from the great John Maxwell. You heard it from the great Art Williams. Everything in this world rises and falls on leadership.
Yeah.
So the very first thing that I was looking for was having the right leadership, having someone that could actually see my blind spots and knowing where I need to get better at.
Right. Right.
Secondly, I look for culture. And what I mean by culture, I really look for diversity. Since money is green and you want to be able to build in numerous different countries at the same time,
Yeah.
I was looking for something diverse that was attractive, no matter what the color of the person was, no matter what their religion was, no matter what their creed was. So it was really about the culture. Culture was second.
Right.
Then product was third. Product is third. A lot of people put product first, but I put product third because if you have the right leadership and you have the right culture, you can plug in the right product.
Yep.
So I wanted to have the right product, but more importantly, inside of networking, Nick, I wanted a product that did not require the average person to have to go and recruit everybody.
Right.
Everybody can't recruit. I've been a top recruiter in numerous different companies, but when I took myself out of that picture frame, I realized that no one could sponsor 400 people. No one could sponsor 1,000 people. We needed a product that was retailable,
Yeah.
a product that the average person, if they didn't go out and recruit their friends or their families or people that they knew, that they could actually market the product on a retail side of the world.
Right.
So that was the third thing. And fourth thing would be compensation.
Right.
Being able to be in the correct compensation plan and capitalize on that compensation plan, but more importantly, have proof inside of the compensation plan that people have been winning and are continually winning as we speak. So those are the 4 ways that I really, really dissect companies when I'm looking at becoming a part of a new project.
All right. So you're looking at a compensation plan that's going to benefit everyone. It's not just going to start at the top and trickle down a little bit. It's going to just only benefit them. It's going to benefit everyone. Correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Unequivocally.
Important. And as we're going to talk about in a moment as well, when you have a product such as what you have that kind of sells itself and recruits itself, because people realize quickly when they see the numbers, they see the statistics and the studies out there, it quickly kind of does it itself. I would imagine.
It's the first time ever since I've been 13 years old being inside of this direct selling game that I can tell you that this is something that truly sells itself, and it doesn't require someone with some great skill set or have to be some sort of phenomenal closer.
Sure, absolutely. Well, when you mentioned this to me to begin with, this project itself, I got excited immediately. It involves something that a large percentage of the world enjoys, consumes on a daily basis, and it's also near to my heart personally. So it got me excited when I heard about it. So why don't we jump right in? Tell us a little bit about this project, and so our listeners can kind of get a grasp of what we're going to be talking about.
Well, here over the previous couple of weeks after really making a decision of what I wanted to do and build with my team, on January 3rd, I launched a project called Project 3000. And Project 3000 is a project to empower, first of all, 3,000 families over the next 5 years to become financially free, which I have zero doubt that we're going to actually accomplish. And on our initial pre-launch call, Nick, we had 1,143 people listening in on this call on January 3rd from all over the world.
Yeah.
And the product is coffee.
Yes.
It's simply coffee. A lot of people say, well, Cedrick, why coffee? Why coffee? Well, it's when you think about it, it's 10 a.m. right now in Eastern Standard Time, 7 a.m. on the West Coast, and some people that are listening to your show right now are drinking a cup of coffee.
Sure.
I have never seen a Starbucks commercial, but they're always busy.
Yes, they are.
You pass by Dunkin' Donuts, and the logo is a coffee cup, not a donut.
Yep.
So when I started looking at the statistics and how we could really capitalize on it, it just made too much sense.
Absolutely. Yeah, it does. Just the mere word alone just kind of brings everything. And it's funny because I heard you say in one of your video presentations I had seen, you had mentioned that, and other parts of your group had mentioned that they're a fan of Starbucks because it opened the world up to, what's available there. Although they're charging crazy prices, people are paying it because people want the product. That's what it is. All you need now is a better product to come along like what we're about to talk about, and there you have it. It's like magic.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Now, Project 3000 sounds like a pretty ambitious and aggressive goal as far as grabbing so many people. I see that you have an enormous amount of followers and group people that you've done good by in the past, and they trust you and they know you. I would imagine that's a bit of a help as well, correct?
That's a phenomenal help. And when I say really empowering 3,000 families to become financially free, so many people really don't encompass what that number really is. And the number that we're looking for, Nick, is $5,000 per month.
Yeah.
And obviously we're going to help more. We're going to help a lot more people get past that number. But I know at $5,000 a month, probably well over 80+% of the listeners that are listening in right now can go in and fire their boss.
Sure.
And really, really have a life for a change, making an additional $5,000 a month, or even if they want to do it part-time, coming from the mortgage industry, I know when we went through this crazy real estate hiatus, and some of us are still going through it right now, the average person that lost their home to foreclosure was literally a little over $300 a month away from keeping their home.
Yeah, absolutely.
So knowing $5,000 a month is a phenomenal number that people can tap into. That's really the goal.
Absolutely. I would imagine that would give most people an opportunity to free themselves up, become an entrepreneur, finally get away from that trap that they're in, that they're stuck in because they can't leave that check every week or every couple of weeks, and it gives them a chance to do this.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. Now, so tell me, an aggressive goal like this, how does something like this get done? What is the primary recruiting methods that you have? I've seen some of the videos. I've heard about some of the phone calls. How does this get done?
Well, first of all, most people don't know how to launch a business. So if I kind of take you through a launch process, we pre-launched our business. We did it on a Wednesday where I had about 138 leaders on the call and really, really laying out exactly what Project 3000 was all about and what we're going to do, over the next 5 years.
Right.
And from that deployment of 138 people, the following day we had 1,143 people on the call.
Well, yep.
From that call, we brought in a significant amount of people from all over the world. Now we have a strong base, and probably the best analogy I can give of this is the Apple iPhone.
Right.
When Apple was released, they did not just sell the phone. They did not just release it. They launched it.
Right.
And 4 days, people were standing outside. You remember, Nick? They're outside the tent.
I was there. I was in line.
Huh?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Got to get it, So they launched it, and then 2-3 years later, they added an S on the end.
Yep.
And a lady named Siri, and they launched it again.
Yep.
And people went through the whole process again, and then 2 or 3 years later, they made it thinner, called it the iPhone 5, put a smaller camera, put a better camera on it, and they launched it again. Now, people right now that have 3 phones, paid $1,500 for them, and there was nothing wrong with the first one.
I'm one of them, in line every single time, just wasting my money on the next best thing. Yep.